Roster Watch Nation, welcome back. I am Cody Carpentier. You can find me on X at Cody Carpentier. You can find me anywhere else there as well. I'm back with another rookie spotlight, this time with the stud from Oregon, 6'3", 187 pounds, an abnormal body type that we will talk about here in just a few seconds. Troy Franklin from Oregon, who played with Bo Nix, played up there with Dan Lanning at Oregon, a team that just nearly missed the college football playoff. Troy Franklin, first and foremost, when you look at the NFL mock draft database, where is he going? He's going anywhere between 25 and about 35 in the NFL draft. So late first round, early second round. If you go back to October, he was getting mocked about 45th overall. So he's crept up about 10 spots. When you look at what Troy Franklin put on the wax this year from a statistical standpoint in his third season at Oregon, 81 receptions, 1,383 yards, and 14 touchdowns. That's on top of last year as a sophomore, 61 receptions, 891 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, but first, I want you to please click that like button. Please click subscribe. Stay tuned in here at Roster Watch on YouTube, at Roster Watch on X, and if you're listening on podcast, of course, please click that 5-star button on Spotify. It would very much be appreciated, as we ain't quite hit our quota yet. And people need to be happy, like Byron. Byron wants to be happy. Alex wants to be happy. We got to hit that quota for these guys to be happy. It's draft season. It's rookie season. And we're in the streets. We're in the streets all the way 365 days of the season. And this is part of that process right here, right now. So please do that for your boy. Now, Troy Franklin, let's get down to it. Wide receiver from Oregon. On Monday, we talked about Brian Thomas. Today, it's Troy Franklin, another long, rangy, deep threat type of a guy. 6'3", 387 pounds, like I said. I'm kind of projecting him for about that 4.46, 4.44 area. Would I be surprised if this guy ran 4.41, 4.40? No, I wouldn't. But would I also be surprised if he ran 4.50? No, I wouldn't. He's going to be somewhere in that range. He has the upside to run that way. But again, as we know, when these guys get down there to Indy, some are ready to run, some aren't ready to run. Play style comparisons, there's few really that are available from a size, from a how his body bends and mobilizes, kind of like a Jerome Simpson type at that 6'3", 387 pounds. Jerome Simpson was, I think, like 6'2", 190, in that weird range. Devonta Smith is another one that came in at 6 foot tall, 170. He's going to look like that when you're watching him on tape, and he reminds me a lot of Devonta Smith from his play style. The numbers didn't quite match that up, but again, he's playing in a different offense with different talent around him, and he wasn't quite put into that situation that Devonta Smith was, where he went over 1,700 yards just a few seasons ago. I have him listed as a late round 1 grade. He broke out as a 19-year-old sophomore at Oregon. As I mentioned, he was 20 this season. He'll be 21 as a rookie in the NFL. His market share is 20% receiving, 28% receiving yards, and 29% of the touchdowns. He's coming out of Menlo High School in California as a 4-star prospect. He's only ever played at Oregon. Now, what do I love about Troy Franklin? I love a lot. I don't dislike much. This guy's going to come in very high for me. Very high. Top 5. My rankings will be out at the end of this week. My NFL draft rankings for wide receiver position, top 25, will be out up on RosterWatch.com. Make sure you tap in over there and get the updates as soon as they come out. We're dropping spotlights every single day. My top 25 rookie wide receivers for the NFL draft, not just for fantasy, for the NFL draft, will be out either on Thursday or Friday if you're listening on podcast. Some of the things I like about Troy Franklin: I think he creates quick separation at the line of scrimmage with strong hands and twitchy feet. Also, his build, it's abnormal. 6'3", 387 pounds. Literally, if you go back the last 20 years of drafts, there's only been one player drafted with this body type, Marquess Wilson. Do you know that name? Because if you don't, he's a 7th-round pick for the Bears. Not good. Didn't really pan out. That's this body type. Nobody has this body type. I mentioned Devonta Smith, 6 foot tall, 170. 6'3", 187. It's very lean. But when you get up on Troy Franklin, you'll see he's actually put together pretty well. He's been hitting the gym. He's got muscles. It's not just slender, long legs, long arms. He's kind of rocked up. He's got muscles up top. He's got muscles down low. He doesn't get injured. He's durable. He's flexible. Like I said, abnormal frame. In the interview I read or I listened to a couple days ago, he gained over 5 pounds of mass from 2022 to 2023. And then you look at the field and you look at the numbers, you can see his yak increased, yards after catch increased from 4.4 to 6.6 year over year from 2022 to 2023. I think he's got incredible savviness within his routes, and he just knows when to break and how to break against these defenders. He had 4 more receptions in 12 out of 13 games last year, and he's just an all-around dog when it comes to playing football. A couple of things that did not go his way. He led the Power 5 in drops. He had 9 drops. Now, I'm not as worried as we were about Quentin Johnston back in 2023 because these aren't easy drops. Like, these aren't ones where he's running freelance down the field. These aren't Troy Williamson drops. These aren't those kind of drops. These are maybe balls that aren't really that catchable, but they touch your hands, they count as a drop. And that's just kind of the situation at hand. Again, I'm never going to be giving a guy, oh, he could have gone. No, a drop's a drop. He led the country Power 5 in drops with 9. I think he does show a little bit of tightness in that lower quarter, but that's okay. We've seen that in some guys like a Devonta Smith. And really what it stems from is just having that length, the lower body length, and he has some very, very long legs. I do think he struggles a little bit at the contested catch point, like I mentioned before, kind of on the sideline, kind of the end zone. That's where the drops kind of come from, is those situations. So another thing, he's very good downfield, but he does let the ball sometimes get into his chest a little too much. He doesn't really frame the football. That's one, I guess, one of the top line critiques I would say is getting better at framing the football, getting ready for the football to come into you rather than you're running downfield. You got a guy beat by 3 yards of separation. Don't just let that football come in and hit you in the chest. Like, it's about catching the football here, not like allowing it to get into your chest. And I know people listening on podcasts, I'm just making the diamond with my hands and etc. But it's very small things, but I think just things that you can work towards. And I don't think they're going to be things that hold Troy Franklin back necessarily. But again, they are things that work kind of hand in hand, drops and ability to catch the ball at a certain type. Possibly the most exciting first round pick, late first, early second round selection you can make in fantasy rookie drafts, I think, is Troy Franklin. This is a dynamic wide receiver. Again, I'm going to continue to bring up the name Devonta Smith. I was hesitant of Devonta Smith coming up because Devonta Smith really isn't rocked up. He doesn't really have much muscle tone to that frame, but he's route savvy, and that's what Troy Franklin brings to the table for us. I think he should poison a consistent trust from his quarterback in Bo Nix, despite the drops. Again, 4+ receptions in 20 out of 26 games with Nix over the last 2 seasons. I think his ability to join a team on day one, work as the primary wide receiver, is pretty evident in the NFL. I think he's a dynamic threat ability. And all in all, I'm looking forward to seeing Troy Franklin succeed in the NFL. If you want to read more about this, go over to RosterWatch.com. Check out the full write-up of the rookie spotlight for Troy Franklin. You can also find the Brian Thomas one that I did on Monday. There'll be a Malik Neighbors one coming out later this week, and much more. The wide receivers are all but complete on the website. And like I said, my top 25 NFL draft wide receiver rankings will be coming out either on Thursday or Friday this week, February 8th, February 9th. We're getting very close to the NFL draft. We're getting very, very close, just a mere 3 weeks away from the NFL Combine. So I appreciate you guys for all tapping in here. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe and stay tuned in, stay tapped in for much more from Alex, from Byron, from the Trash Man, and from myself. We appreciate you guys, and we love you.